Hi, hello everyone. Our unit of study today at this session will be data communication and networking. And this unit is a broad one. It entails two related concepts, that is the data communication and the networking concepts. So, today we shall major on the first concept, that is the data communications. Then later we shall look at the concept of networking and their interrelationship. So let us try to define what is data communication. Data communication is defined as a process in which more than one computer transfers information or instructions to each other and for sharing resources. Okay. Yeah, so in simple terms, it's just the sending and receiving of information or resources. We have the components of data communication. As we've seen before in our definition, we've seen that data communication is a process. It's a process of trying to send and receive data or resources using computers or electronic devices through networks. So, a process has to have several components. A process is a combination of several processes or components for it to be considered complete. So we shall look at the components of data communication. The first component is the message. We have the message, we have the sender, we have receiver, we have the transmission medium, and we have set of rules into bracket protocol. Whenever you see any a word protocol, what comes into your mind should be rules, set of rules. Yeah. We shall now explain each component at a time so that we get to understand the process of data communication into details. And the first component we had was the message. So, a message is a piece of information that is to be transmitted from one person to another. It could be a text file, an audio file, or a video file. Yeah, that is a message, piece of information, anything that you want to convey from the sender to receiver. There has to be an idea, there has to be something that you want to exchange for communication to happen. We have the second component, which is the sender. It is simply a device that sends data messages. It can be a computer, mobile, telephone, a laptop, video camera, or workstation. We have the third component, which is the receiver. Receiver is a device that receives messages. It can be a computer, a telephone, mobile, or a workstation. After now the message, we have the message which has been sent through the sender. Then we have now the receiving device, that is the receiver in our case. So we've seen it can be a computer, it can be a telephone, mobile, or can even be a workstation. The fourth component is the transmission medium or communication channels. Communication channels are the medium that connect two or more workstations Workstations can be connected by either wired media or wireless media. So the transmission medium is now the connection between the sender and the receiver. There has to be a pathway where the information or the message will pass through. So that is the transmission medium. We have the last one. The last component is the set of rules or protocol. These are set of rules that are followed by every computer connected to the internet. Yeah, so there has to be some set of rules. They are in any organization or in any setup where there is exchange or communication. There has to be set rules or guidelines which guides or governs the way the communication or processes are carried out. So here is an overview of the components of data communication and how they are related or interconnected. We have our first component, which is the sender. The sender, through a transmission path or through a transmission medium, sends some messages. Sends a message, then the message goes direct to the receiver. The receiver receives the message. Then here at the receiving point there has to be set of rules. There are set rules that guides on how receiving has to be done. We have also set of rules at the sender. At the sending device, there are also set of rules which governs how messages or information should be sent. Yes. So lastly, let us look at the types of data communication. And there are three main types of data communication, namely simplex communication, we have half duplex communication, and full duplex communication. So let us look at the first type, which is known as simplex communication. This is a one-way communication, or we can also call it unidirectional communication. Uni meaning one, in which one device only receives and another device only sends data, and the devices uses their entire capacity in transmission. An example of a simplest communication is entering data using a keyboard, yes, or listening music using a speaker. The second type of data communication is known as half duplex communication. This is a two-way communication, or we can also call it a bidirectional communication, in which both the devices can send and receive data, but not at the same time. Not at the same time. When one device is sending data, then another device is only receiving, and vice versa. An example of a half duplex communication is the walkie-talkie. One has to talk first, then you reply over, now for the receiver to give the feedback. You cannot communicate at the same time or simultaneously. The last type of data communication is the full duplex communication. This is a two-way communication, or it's also called a bidirectional, bi meaning two, in which both the devices can send and receive data at the same time. Note the difference between the half duplex and the full duplex types of communication. We've seen that with the half duplex, both devices can send and receive data, but not at the same time. But now here with the full duplex, we've seen that both devices can send and receive data at the same time or simultaneously. And a good example of full duplex is the mobile phones. You communicate simultaneously. You don't need to wait for the sender to finish sending the information or talking for the receiving end or the receiver to give back the feedback. We have another example of the landlines, and